the gut bacteria is different, which is why we should be taking a probiotic.
Yep.
Because it's good for you and it's good for your gut.
So what some people don't know is that you have a million different types of bacteria in your stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So when you lose, but there's a few essential ones that have to be there to help break down food. So hence why Kellie's taking a probiotic and she's eating yogurt. That's really good for your gut biome.
Mm-hmm.
So your gut biome, yeah. So just be mindful of that. Like,
guess what, guys?
We're not doctors.
No, we are not.
If you're going to be making any major medical decisions, please consult your doctor.
Yes, and that includes diets, exercise, medications, and surgery.
We love you guys.
And we want you to be in our OSLP family forever.
So be careful
and consult
your doctors.
Guys, we are on the last month before the big event, JBY 2025.
so excited.
And we just want to take a moment to thank our sponsors, because without them, this show would not be happening.
Like at all.
At all.
So we want to give some love out definitely to our sponsors, and ProCare is number one. They are responsible for making sure we have the venue and those beautiful trophies that are going to be going out to everyone.
We can't do a show without those trophies.
That's right.
And then we want to thank SABP Surgical Associates of Bayonet Point. They have been a supporter of ours since the very beginning, and you can thank them for the free live stream for all you people at home,
which is super exciting. And then you can think Pop Recovery Systems. Actually, right now, while you're watching this, if this is still March time, you can enter in to be part of a Love Yourself sponsorship. So they're giving that away, and the winner's going to be announced at the show, guys. So we definitely want you there, because they're helping other people get their plastic surgeries and making sure they're taken care of after bariatric surgery. So definitely a big shout out to Pop.
Yes. And then, of course, we have to thank First Form, who is giving us access to their amazing, amazing gym. They are one of the top 4 gyms in the country, and they have let us take it over for the morning. So we definitely want to thank them.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait to go to the gym and take all the photos.
Yep.
And then we have Bariatric Pal. They are literally creating the swag bag. We've actually saw mock-ups already. They're beautiful, and it's such a nice thing that they're coming in. They're going to give us samples and everything so you can try it, because Bariatric Pal is actually a store. So thank you so much for being a part of JBY this year.
Yes. And then also with the swag bag, we want to thank Bariatric Hair and Skincare, which is JoJo B. We all know her. We all love her. Her products are out of this world, and she is putting her stuff in the swag bag. So look forward to that.
Yes. And we also have Busy Bariatric, which is one of our own, Mr. Rob DeMedio, and he started his own coaching. He's also a bariatric patient, and he's helping out with the wellness morning. He's going to be a personal trainer there, and he helped out with getting the First Form gym for us too. So.
Yes, and then last but not least, we have findabariatrictherapist.com. You guys know we preach therapy all the time, and one of the hardest things is finding a bariatric therapist. And Ashlyn Douglas Barnes, she made it super easy. So you go onto the website, you can filter by a lot of different things, and it'll actually spit out your options for finding a bariatric therapist. So we couldn't have a bariatric journey without her.
Exactly.
Or the wellness morning.
Right. And if you notice, all these people have something to do with our journey, whether it's vitamins, whether it's your hair, whether it's your body. They all play a good part of our journey. So thank you to all of them. And we want you to get your tickets, guys. It's on April 12th, 2025 at St. Louis at the Hawthorne Theater. Go to jbyawards.com to get your tickets, because they are selling out fast.
Yes. And remember, we are better together. So show up for our community on April 12th in St. Louis. Welcome back, OSLP family! Welcome back, OSLP family.
Welcome, welcome.
You are listening to our Sleep Life podcast, and this is Kelly.
This is Mel.
And today we're going to talk about the 13 unspoken rules of bariatrics.
Oh, yeah. I'm liking this one.
I don't know why 13, but 13 is what came out, so that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
So,
Reminds me of the movie or the TV show 13.
oh yeah, 13 reasons why you have to do what you have to do for bariatrics.
Yeah, because there is some things that are just non-negotiables.
And I believe most of what we came up with is all non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And they might not be what you're thinking would be non-negotiables. But I know the first one we're talking about is that weight can vary between person to person so very much.
Yes.
So and the time frame of how you lose weight can vary from person to person, journey to journey. The one thing that I think of is like the comparison.
Yeah.
You know, there's that quote, comparison is the thief of joy. That will steal your joy of your weight loss more than anything else.
Yeah.
Because you could have just lost 5 pounds and then you see that somebody lost 6 pounds and you're like, why did I only lose 5? Instead of being excited about losing 5 pounds.
Oh God, we all do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
And I know that you said before that like going through like Instagram and stuff sometimes would be hard because you're like comparing.
Yeah, I think more in the regain space than the original space of like when I first started losing, because I was losing so rapidly it didn't really matter. But I think for regain, seeing other people.
We love ProCare. You guys know this. And guess what? They have a brand new product out and it tastes like an orange Tic Tac.
That's right. I have got it in my hot little hands right now. It's their easy to swallow tablet in Citrus Grove. And both of us have fully switched over to it.
We had to because it's easy to swallow, doesn't stick, and it has 45 milligrams of iron. And we both need that.
Yes, we do. So go to procarenow.com to take care of all your bariatric body needs. Full 15% off. So use code OSLP at checkout.
Sunshines, I'm so excited to show you something completely different. Now, I have been using all these other apps to track my food, and I finally found one that I really enjoy, and I'm very excited to show you. So it's called ATE app, ATE app, and you just log in, you use our code OSLP24, and you're gonna get a discount, and then you can start just tracking your food. Like, it's really cool. You just take photos, you write how you felt during that time frame, you track your movement, and then now you actually get like a good understanding of how your day's going and what actually makes you feel good and what it doesn't. So go over to ATE app on your phone, download it, use our code OSLP2024, and start using it now.
I've been on the hunt for a good protein powder and collagen powder for a while now. And when I first tasted First Form, I was blown away. I am completely obsessed. Like, have a Profi every single day obsessed. So if you're looking for a new protein powder, definitely click the link below and see what options they have for you, because I trust them completely.
Wow, with Built Bar, I get marshmallows, chocolate, and cookie chunks.
That's right. We are all hashtag Team Puff.
That's right. We're all about that puff game over here because we get protein with it too.
Mm-hmm.
This is incredible.
Every single flavor they come up with, even the sour gummy ones, are freaking chef's kiss. They are so good.
Yes, guys. So go over to BuiltBar.com, use OSLP, you'll get your discount, and then you're going to have a delicious protein bar. Team Puff?
Stick with their plans and act and like go more than, you know, they're in year 3 and 4 and they've never regained. They've never had it. They just stayed with what they were doing. That would frustrate me because I'm thinking, why do I need a GLP-1? Why do I need to why do I need to like restart all the time? All of that was a thief of the joy of just being able, like, I am able to be on a GLP-1 and I am able to restart as many times as I can. It was kind of the thief of those thoughts.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes sense because like that's what's hard about like, now that I've gone through my regain and I'm coming down from it. It's hard. It's mentally hard, and I know I had the same thoughts of like, why do I need to get like I refused the GLP-1 for so long. Like I will not deny that it was such a thing for me, and it was just frustrating that I was like, why do I need another thing? But learning that like the body chemistry is so different. And even with me and Kelly on GLP-1s, we're on two different ones. Because when Kelly's on the one that I'm on, it doesn't do anything. Like that's what, but now we've learned she has insulin resistance, and it's very,
well, we're on the way of learning.
Yeah,
I have insulin resistance.
You have it, yeah, because that one really works well for you.
It does, and I would say that like it'll come back. It'll come back.
It always does.
Yeah.
So is the first one meaning the unspoken rule is like no comparison?
Yeah, don't compare. Because, that's what I was going to say. So with this second round of regain that I'm in, and I am on my way to losing, I have chosen not to say what weight I'm at.
Right.
And I'll talk about how much weight I've lost, but I'm not giving a number because of the fact that I know that people will say, oh, well, she's this weight. And if that's their goal weight, and I'm saying that's bad for me, I don't want them taking that as, I'm saying that their goal weight is wrong.
Right.
So I'm choosing not to say that. But, I've lost 11 pounds at this point. Yay. So thank you. So it's definitely exciting, but I also want, people to realize that some people's goal weights are going to be your starting weight.
Yeah.
Some people are going to be able to lose, 50 pounds in a couple months. Other people are going to lose 20 pounds in a couple months. It really is just so vastly different.
Yeah.
And you can take two people, exact same starting weight, exact surgery, exact same surgeon, and their journeys will look completely different. I think what we forget about is that like our environment has a lot to do with it. Like, so if you're in a place where like you can only afford certain foods and you're only able to do certain things, then yeah, like it's going to be different. Like, especially if you live in places where it's colder, it's probably harder for you to get outside and move around. Maybe there isn't a gym near you because you live in a rural area. So you have to be very mindful of like, okay, what kind of environment is someone in versus me? Because if you're going to do the comparison game, I mean, I don't recommend it, but if you do, please take those factors into consideration because they could be getting more water than you. They could be getting more protein than you. You could be getting more sleep than they are. So your body's healing faster. So it's just, there's so many different factors that go into just you losing weight, period, that please don't play the comparison game because it will mess with your mind. Yeah. It's real. It really will. And there's nothing wrong with what number you start, what number you end. There's nothing wrong with all of that.
Yes.
So as long as you're making progress, that's all that matters. So remember that. Like, am I making progress? Yes. Well, then it doesn't matter what weight they're at versus what I'm at.
Not at all.
Yeah. The next one we thought about is loose skin is inevitable.
Yeah. I mean,
especially if you're at a very high weight and you get down to your goal weight, whatever that is, loose skin is inevitable.
It has to happen because the fat comes out.
Well, if you're older, you're going to have a lot more loose skin than somebody who had it in, 18, 19, 20. Because their elasticity in their skin is a lot healthier than yours is.
100%. Like, that's also why you can't play the comparison game. Yeah. Look, the age has so much to do with it too. And yeah, like we're going to have loose skin. Other people are going to have more than others. I've even heard people that didn't want to have surgery because of the loose skin. Yeah. And I was like, don't care about that part. Because like you can save, you can get that shit cut off if you want. You could just fall in love with it. Like you just don't know what you're going to be like until you get there. Yeah. So just be mindful of that. Like, cause like I love my body and there is loose skin under my arms and in my thighs. And like, I'm fine with it. I was like, you know what? Like, we're supposed to age. We are supposed to like fluctuate in weight. It's going to happen regardless, especially from the age 0 till fucking 80. Like, if you didn't, there'd be a problem.
Yes.
You know, and especially women that have children, like, we're going to have that flap. Like, as much as we don't like it, like, it's there. You know, the scars are there. Like, everything that happens to our body is just kind of a map of like what you've been through.
Yeah.
So for me, I kind of like look at it more as like a badge of honor than being shameful about my loose skin, because it's like, yeah, who cares? I was that before, but guess what? Not now.
Yep.
And I got things to show that I'm not, like, even with the loose skin. It's actually more like, well, look what I was able to accomplish. Like, I just try not to see it as a negative, but I know for some people it's really hard to do that, especially when they're working out and that front flap. Mine claps. Kelly's heard it before. But yeah, it can get really annoying.
Yeah, it can. And I want to put out there that there is no exercise. There is no magic pill. There is nothing that will prevent you from having loose skin. It's just, you might have it at a smaller degree than other people, but it's inevitable.
Yeah.
So don't believe anything that says, like, if you do this, you're not going to have loose skin. That's not accurate.
Oh, did you see the new one? It's this like paste that you can put on your thighs and butt, and it's money back guaranteed. And I'm like, really? I almost just want to buy it just to fuck with the whole like money back guarantee thing.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, stop selling this stuff to people. Like, how is this gonna like tighten their loose skin so much that now there's nothing?
Yeah, I don't think that's...
Where is it going?
I don't think that's real.
Right?
At all. No.
What the hell? What is this paste doing?
Yeah,
I'm concerned.
Don't believe the ads that are out there.
Yeah, they hit you up on Instagram.
Don't believe it.
I've seen it.
Yeah. The other one is head hunger versus actual hunger.
That's hard.
That is going to be a battle for a while, because you don't actually, it's hard to figure out, am I actually hungry? Am I having the physical cues of being hungry? My stomach growling? Am I feeling a little like woozy? Or I'm laying in bed and I'm bored, so I want to eat something. So you have to be very mindful of like, what cues am I getting? And if it's I'm bored, then you can either choose to eat something, which I would say make it something that you're at least getting good protein in, or make sure that it's like, snap peas and ranch.
Yeah.
Make cottage cheese ranch. And be getting a little bit of healthiness from it. Try not to go straight towards that sleeve of cookies or something like that. But that deferment between those two is going to be a battle.
When do you think you're able to like get that?
I think I'm still working on that,
Yeah,
honestly.
same.
I don't think, being almost 6 years out, I still have to have that conversation with myself. Okay, am I actually hungry, or am I just eating because I'm bored, or I'm dealing with something that's stressful, or what's going on in my life to where, like, is it super stressful? Okay, then it might not be actual hunger. Okay, then if it's the other one, like, what can I have in place of, like, can I have a Proppy? Can I do my granola and yogurt? Can I do, because there's times that I'm in the middle of the day and I'm like, I'm just going to have a yogurt and granola.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of protein in that.
Well, or like a big, like, I love me peanut butter in a spoonin', but we are with American Dream Nut Butter. And so that has been very helpful for myself, at least, because like I'm getting the peanut buttery, and then I get all these different little flavors in it. So
yeah,
I actually have all mine set out in my new island. So very excited. But yeah, I would say like, I asked you that question mainly for a reason, because even I'm 9 years out and still have that issue. So I wanted people to see that, hey, this is really going to be a long game with it. What is it, head hunger or real hunger? And you really have to just, one, figure out what your cues are, because my cues are different than Kelly's versus other people too.
Yeah.
So like, try to figure out, okay, what are my cues? And then think about it. Like, and think about, like, we call it halts, try to figure out, are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? And I know for myself, I eat a lot when I'm lonely. And so, but I know that now because I've heard of the acronym, and then I actually stop myself.
Yeah.
And that stopping is like, not that it's new, but it's definitely new to my life, because before bariatrics, there was no stopping. I didn't think about it. I was just like, there was nothing there. It was just keep going until your stomach hurts. Like, that was always the way you could tell that you were full. So now I'm actually like stopping. And that took till about year, I want to say like year 3 and 4, where that kind of like started happening more and more. I would say way more now that we've talked to so many people in these last few years, that I'm way more aware than I've ever been before.
Yeah.
Because now I can pinpoint it's lonely.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's because I'm tired. But before I could never do that. So I would just say, like, just think about it, and just know it's not going to come overnight. Like, it's a hard thing to actually do and put in practice and get used to it. It kind of feels a little foreign at first, but then you're realizing after a week, say, of doing this, you didn't pick up the cookies, you didn't pick up the soda, or a Monster, whatever it was back then. Like, you're just not doing that. So now you don't have these extra calories or extra carbs or whatever in your body. Because before, I think that's where I was getting a lot of my weight gain, was all that mindless eating and not realizing what I just put in my body at all.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's where I gained the most.
Yeah. I mean, that would be my regain, was mindless eating.
Yeah.
The first one was because I did introduce drinking back in while I was eating. And I think it was the mindless eating. It was also I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to have this, and then I'm going to wait a little bit and have this. So like appetizers, and then your dinner, and then your dessert, right? So now I'm like learning that it's okay to do that, but what are you eating?
Yeah.
What am I having? Is it worth having that? Like, I had dinner the other night, and Zach over at Zach's house, and Zach asked me, do you want some butter noodles, whatever he was making? And I was like, no. And he was like, what? I'm like, it's not worth it. I have a certain number of carbs that I hit. That's not worth it to me. So
look at you. That's a hell of an NSV.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just making those little adjustments of saying, is this worth it? No, I'm good.
Yeah. I've been playing around with that with Angie and Dylan.
Yeah.
Because now they're upstairs, see a lot more.
Yeah.
And they drink a lot of their calories. They have bread with almost every meal. So I'll just randomly be like, hey, remember, don't drink calories as they walk by. Or like, they went to have a sandwich, and I was like, hey, you already had bread earlier. Just remember that. Like, just trying to be like, just these little drops of like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't drink these calories. And I know it's working for Dill, because he's like, I haven't drank my calories in like a week. And I was like, yeah,
that's good.
So it's just dropping these little knowledge bombs to people, and keeps me on track, to be honest too. It's like, oh yeah, I got to be mindful too. I got to make sure I'm not drinking my calories. Because I know when I introduced soda back in, when Aunt Nene lived here, that was one really weird, because I don't normally drink soda anyway. But for some reason, I was wanting a Coca-Cola almost like every couple days.
Yeah.
And that turned into like, oh, I'm gaining weight from this. Like when's the last time Mel just drank straight up sugar? It's been a while. And then I did it for like 6 months, guys. And I know I gained from that. Like, that was an obvious one. So like, just be careful, because it can come out of nowhere of this. Now you're just drinking something that you haven't in a long time, or there's a snack that you're eating now that you shouldn't be eating, that you introduced. Like, I've done them. I'm fully a bariatric patient that has had these issues. So just know it's a lot of thinking.
It's a lot of talking to yourself, thinking. It's a lot of like journaling, figuring out what you're feeling, It's a lot of, talking with your therapist and talking about what you're feeling and why you think you're going towards that, and being very much aware of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And being truthful with yourself.
That one's a big deal because we can lie to ourselves. Done it.
Yep.
Done it, man.
Yep.
So.
Oh, that's not making me gain weight.
Oh yeah. I think I did
one.
that with the Coca-Cola for a hot minute.
I did that with the shortbread cookies. Oh, that's not making me gain weight.
Those are delicious.
They are good.
They are very good.
They are not allowed at my house anymore.
That's fair.
So speaking of sugary things, dumping syndrome is no joke.
It does not feel good, guys.
Yeah. So it can happen. Now we know it can happen with bypass or sleeve.
Yeah.
It's most of the time more severe with bypass. But the sweating, the not being able to focus, the running to the bathroom every 5 seconds,
Your heart pounding.
the heart pounding, like it is not fun. And I feel like dumping syndrome can also happen if you're eating too much, too fast.
Yeah.
I get the sweats when I do that. And I would just say, be prepared for that. That if you're not following the guidelines of you take your time eating, chew 25 times, like putting your fork down in between, especially in the beginning, you can run into a dumping syndrome.
You really can, especially from eating too fast.
Yes. Or too sugary.
Too sugary. I was going to say, mine was ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was too much fat and sugar at once.
Yeah.
And I had no idea what the fuck was happening. But it was like, it's like a weird confusion that starts. Like, at least for me, it was sweatiness, heart rate, and confusion. I was just like, do I need to go to the bathroom? I don't know. Because we were in the car. So I was like, do we stop? Stop.
Yeah.
You can put yourself in a real predicament. So, like, because sometimes you just don't know what's going to agree with you. Because some things could just be too greasy for you. And now all of a sudden you're in the bathroom. So just know that it happens to almost everyone.
It does.
We've all of experienced it. So just be prepared.
Yep.
That it can and probably will happen. Just be careful.
Yeah.
So, and it's really with sugary, fatty, and then eating too fast. Those are the main three that it comes from.
Yes. So this one is this is what it is, people. Protein and hydration rule your life for the rest of your life. Protein and hydration. That's all. It's going to be protein and hydration.
As I'm drinking a protein shake and there's water right behind me.
Yes. Yes. It's going to rule your life.
Yep.
It's just plain and simple.
And guess what? It was supposed to in the beginning anyway. We were supposed to be getting protein and water every day since we were little kids.
Yeah.
We just weren't.
Yes.
Okay. So what we're doing now is just like, oh, this is what your body actually needs. And yeah, like we've had people message us and be like, does it ever stop with the protein and water? Absolutely not.
Nope.
They're like, does it get better? I'm like, yeah, it gets better, but you still have to talk. Like you still have to be like mindful of it.
I think you just build a routine off of it. And so it's not as jarring as it is in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
And you guys like message us and let us know if you agree. But I think as you get later on, it's just, you don't even think about it. You just do it. Like I know that in the morning I have my coffee. As soon as I'm done with my coffee, I have my water. And then when I'm about halfway through my water, then I make my coffee. And then I continue to swap back and forth between my coffee and my water, all like for most of the morning. So, and then I just drink water for the rest of the day because you have to have your water, but you also have to have your protein. So you have to build a routine between the two.
Yeah. And like, it took me 6 months out of surgery to finally get that balance. So know that it does take a while and it's okay.
Okay, you guys know at this point we have tried over 1 million protein bars.
1 million?
Okay, so maybe I'm being a little dramatic, but it feels like it some days.
Yeah.
So, but consistently from the beginning of the podcast, we've always loved this protein bar.
Freaking Dive Bar, guys. Like, they are so soft and they're so delicious. I just have to have one.
Yes, they've got great protein in them, and they have as much caffeine as equal to 1 cup of coffee.
And
so, yeah.
That's exciting because guess what? I don't drink coffee. So when I have this, Oh, I'm awake and ready for the day.
Energy. Plus, they always have some version of lemon, and I just love it.
And they have always.
I'm here for
And
it.
guess what? S'mores. And you can put these in the air fryer. They're actually more delicious in there.
So good. So good.
So guys, go get these as soon as you can. We do have a code for you. It's OSLP. So go use that and get your discount.
Do you guys have a GNC near you? Because I have like 3 and I go to all of them because I love seeing all the different things. And they're so fun because they're so nice. And your girls have a code. What? That's a joke. Your girls have a link. So click a link and you'll go to their website. You might get a discount. You might get free shipping. Just really depends on what's going on at that time. So go ahead and click the link in our bio and then you'll go on to GNC.
I only use a few products, and one of the products that I absolutely have fallen in love with is American Dream Nut Butter. I love how many flavors they have. I love that it's got protein. I love that it's got healthy fats for me. And I absolutely love that I don't feel guilty when I have that for a sweet treat at the end of the night. So if you are looking for a really tasty nut butter, click the link below and go look at all their millions of flavors because they've got them all.
It just eventually will come like it's like another thing. Like you're building basically a habit.
Yeah.
And then now it becomes second nature. And once you get there, you'll notice.
Yeah.
It's nice when you're like, oh yeah, I need to have protein.
Yep. But just know that this is going to rule the rest of your life.
Yeah. Not going anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's the number one rule of bariatrics. Protein water.
Protein water.
What I will add to that though is vitamins.
Yes.
Vitamins also rule your life. You don't have to let them rule your life because if you take a certain one a day pill,
like we have ProCare, Orange Grove.
Yes, then you only take it in the morning and then you're done. So, but you will have to do bariatric multivitamin and calcium. On top of maybe some other supplements, I take insulin resistance also, and
yeah, I take the Mag D,
the probiotic. Yeah. Oh, and Mag D.
Yeah.
So I take 3 extra supplements. It's not the end of the world.
It's really not,
so
guys. And I know that you're like, okay, but it costs so much. Well, guess what? Even ProCare found a way for it to not cost so much. And if you think about it, that's probably someone's like coffee for a few weeks and then it's done.
Yeah.
Like maybe even sometimes in a day, depending on how much you're drinking. So it's really worth it. We've known people, we've actually talked to people on the podcast that have had like literally like the scene. There's blind that you can go blind for not getting your actual vitamins. Mm-hmm. We've had people go into the hospital because they can't walk right now. Like certain things are just falling and they have to be in the hospital for a while to get all of it back up. It's not just a little thing at a time.
Yeah.
So just remember, we're like a chemistry set. We got to have certain minerals and certain vitamins in us. And you know what? ProCare did a good job. It's one. We really only have to take one. And like she said, the calcium, and then I take Mag D because it really helps me not get sick.
Yep. And then I do the insulin resistance and the probiotic on top of it. So I also do their powdered calcium and their fiber, but that goes in my coffee, so I don't even count that.
I was going to say, I didn't count those either because I do put both of those in my tea.
Mm-hmm.
You can put them in hot tea. You can put them in your coffee. That's what's cool is like you can get powdered things that just dissolve. And then you just take a drink and you're good to go.
Yep.
So we don't have to make it harder than it needs to be. And then to use OSLP at checkout.
Okay, so number 6 is people will treat you differently. Your friends, your family, strangers. Everybody's going to treat you differently because this is a whole new you. And most of the time, like your friends and family have never seen you like this.
Yeah.
So they will treat you differently. And like, what is it? Skinny privilege? Mm-hmm. It's a thing.
It's a real thing.
It's just a thing.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as we don't like it, as much as we wish it wasn't, it is a thing. So strangers will be nicer to you when you are at a small weight.
Oh, yeah. Because like I get the doors open for me now. People just do it. Don't even have to ask if I needed help with anything. Like people are just way more friendly. They talk to you more. Like when I used to walk, prime example from the parkade all the way to my job, like before when it was like Big Mel, No one talked to me. I walked the same route every morning and every afternoon when I got off work. No one talked to me. But once I started losing the weight, all of a sudden, people were talking to me, chatting me up. I even had someone walk with me all the way to the Department of Revenue, like just some lady that was super nice. But it's like, she probably would have never talked to me before. And I bet she saw me big. I bet she had, because I did the same thing for almost like 6 months to a year. So they it's just interesting. The skinny privilege is real. And yeah, we all know what it feels like to be in the corner. No one looking at us, and we're wearing the clothes that people don't want, like black, and hopefully I can hide behind things. But now it's not. Like, you're in the forefront.
Yeah.
So
I think even doctors treat you differently when you're thinner.
Yeah.
Like, I get way more answers and way more interaction than I ever did as when I was at my highest weight.
I feel like they just think we're lazy and we're not going to listen or something.
Probably. I think it's just a world stigma.
Right? Of just hating on the big guys and the girls.
Well, and for, a long time, people thought it was willpower. It wasn't a disease.
Yeah.
So, now that they see it as a disease, I think it's changing slowly. But yeah, I would say my doctors listen to me so much better now that I am thinner versus when I was at my highest weight, which is sad.
It is sad.
Yep.
Because that's your own doctor. Like, that's what's frustrating. And like, I'm changing doctors because I'm like, you know what? I don't need to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, why are we doing this?
I didn't like him from the moment I met him. I was like, nope.
You know what's funny about him? So I got my new doctor, did all the research, right? And I just checked it. His star rating is a 2.5. And I was like, that is accurate.
Yeah, because he's not a nice guy.
No, I was like, oh, I forgot you can rate people. You can rate your doctor and check the reviews. And holy shit, I left one because I was like, yeah, this is accurate. Like, you can't tell whether he's listening or not to you. And then all he does is kind of like sit there. And then at the end, I'm like, I remember when I was like just trying to get my paperwork filled out for Eric. I was like, do you understand? Are you going to sign this? And he goes, and just walked out the room. And I was like, what the?
Yeah.
I love the nurses though, because I was like, hey, I have questions.
Yeah. Yeah. The nurses or physician's assistants.
Oh,
I like PAs.
PAs are amazing.
Okay. So people are going to treat you differently. That's just what it's going to be.
Well, change makes everybody. It's not just you that's changing.
Yeah. So normal portions are going to look huge.
So huge.
Because you're going to look at 4 ounces and be like, oh, I can't eat all that. But then when you get, like, you see a portion size at a restaurant where it's like 2 cups of rice, 12 ounces of chicken, and a huge salad, you're like, there is no way that can fit in my stomach. So it's whereas before you were like, oh yeah, this is just a good size meal, to where now you're like, no human should be eating that much food.
No, I remember, especially that first couple of years, I was just like, holy shit, that's a lot of food. I remember being like, how did I even like order 3 or 4 things from Taco Bell? How did I do a quarter pounder with fries and a drink? And like, oh my God, you're just like realizing how did I fit everything? Like, this is nuts. And yeah, because now you're like, I could barely fit like a couple bites, especially in the beginning. And even to this day, sometimes there's just moments where you're like, I can only do 3 or 4 bites. Don't know why, but I only can. And then later maybe you can. But still, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking at other people's, like even my brothers, and be like, damn, I don't know. Bro,
how are you fitting all of that?
How are you doing that? And then, of course, it always goes back to like, how did I do that? It's just wild.
Yeah. You're going to look at food in a completely different way, especially the sizing that's in America.
Dude, insane.
No.
Did you ever have any moments where you're like, wow?
Oh yeah. Like every time I go eat out and then it's like this huge platter and I'm like, why? I need like one that's like 1/4 of this size. And that's what I eat is like 1/4. And then I take the rest home. I went out to dinner at, what's it called? Doesn't matter. Anyways, so went out to dinner and it was I got squidding pasta because it's a family style restaurant. So it's squidding pasta and then these potatoes and then this steak loin or something like that. There was so much food.
Yeah.
So much food. And I was like, how, like, this is enough food for like 4 people.
Yep.
I don't get it.
Mm-mm.
But that's going to be your life also.
It is, because even with Nini and them living with me, like, I remember cooking for everyone for the first time, and I forget, oh, they don't eat, like, me or Dylan, like, because what happened, at least in my household, is that, like, portions did come down, even for Dylan and Eric. Like, it wasn't like it was. And so when having a whole family move in, when I would cook, I was like, okay, so, like, it's just a little here and there and da-da-da. And I remember Aunt Nini walking, she's like, you're going to need way more hamburger meat than that. And I was like, really? And she's, Mel, there's like 6 of us. And I go, yeah, but like, that's 3 pounds. And she's like, yeah, I would do another half. And I'm like, okay, all right. And she wasn't wrong. Everything was eaten. But also I do think, like, if I didn't, it still would have been all eaten and everybody would have been satisfied. So I just think that, like, sometimes we just need to look at what we're doing and maybe scale it back some, because I really did feel like it could have been fine for everybody.
3 pounds, yeah.
Right? 3 pounds of meat for 6 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Right? Okay, so I'm not I'm not like delusional over here. Like 3 pounds for 6 people seems about right. And maybe even a little too much.
Yeah.
Because that's like half a pound per person.
Yeah. That's a lot of meat.
That's a lot of meat. And that's not including, like, the beans, cheese, the lettuce, tomato, like, everything else that's on this taco. So, like, yeah, it's just so different. It's so different now, because before I probably would never have blinked an eye when she said that. But now I'm like,
yeah.
And it's like, we should not be eating in these big portions anymore.
Yeah.
Like, we've learned it's just not good for your body.
Yeah. It's not. It's not good to eat like that and overeat every single night, every meal. No.
It used to be like an award. Like a whole, like, yeah, man.
Yeah.
My tummy's full. Roll me out of here.
Yep. It was a positive thing at one point in our lives. And I think people still live by that unless they're in this realm of the world where you're like, no.
Right, with the health and wellness world. And I feel like it's getting bigger and bigger every year.
It is.
People being aware of what's going on, because literally it's a direct effect of whatever you put in your body, like water, protein, food, alcohol, whatever you're doing has a direct effect on how you work. So, and we learned that now because of all the podcasting we've done and all the doctors.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, number 8 goes along with the other one. Your relationship with food will change.
Yep. 1000%. It has to.
Yep. And it can, like, this is the thing, is it can go for the better, but it can also go for the worst.
Yep.
Like, I know that mine was for the worst because I was like, okay, I am going to cut out anything that's not protein or cheese.
Yep.
No crackers, no tortillas, no none of that. Just meat and cheese. And that was not good, because then when I started eating those things again, I regained because I wasn't doing it in the correct way. And then the second time, did it again. I wasn't eating. So it can change your relationship with food. For me, it was worse.
Yeah. But
you keep trying, and now
how is it now?
It's good. Yeah.
See?
Yep.
It gets better.
It does.
It does. And there's a love-hate relationship with food. There's some months where I'm like, we're on the same page, food. And then it could be a whole season of me not on the same page. And so I've learned that I personally cannot be using food as a tool to, like, better myself. Yeah, because I totally did, to get that dopamine hit and feel better. I would just eat. And now I'm like, I can't use food like that.
Yeah.
That's where my mind has changed. It's where, like, food is really for fuel, and I cannot be using it to help myself in other spots of my life, because it's not actually helping me. It's just, like, in the moment help, and then it's gone.
Yep.
It's like the whole drinking thing. Like, drink when you're sad, but you're still going to be sad tomorrow.
Yep.
Because the problem's still there.
The problem is still there. Yep.
So, and that's how I feel with food. So I'm like, yeah, we just can't look at it the same.
Yeah.
And it took a while, guys. Again, 9 years out. So it's not overnight for you to get this mental clarity. It does take years of work and realizing how you feel when you do consume different foods. And then just watching like what you do versus other people and being like, okay, no, I don't need to eat like they do. I don't need to be like them. It's okay to be who I am. And I just eat these small portions and don't worry if they care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just don't.
Yep. Just eat what you want to eat. Eat what you have to eat.
Yeah. I mean, I used to get annoyed when Matt would be like, why are you putting salt and pepper on your stuff?
Because it doesn't matter.
Right? It's like, who cares? I like it. Like,
I don't understand why people have such a
big opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually messed with him at Dylan's birthday because he was putting salt and pepper on his salad, and I remembered that, and I was like, salt and pepper, huh? And he goes, yeah, I don't care anymore. And then I just does it. I was like, yeah, because you never should have cared.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. It does not affect your life. Therefore, don't care about it.
Yep.
Bathroom habits will be different.
Yes.
That's another one.
You go to the bathroom a lot more.
Well, or you have really bad constipation. That's a problem.
Yep.
Eating a lot of protein will affect your gut 100%.
Yep.
The gut bacteria is different, which is why we should be taking a probiotic.
Yep.
Because it's good for you and it's good for your gut.
So what some people don't know is that you have a million different types of bacteria in your stomach. So when you lose, but there's a few essential ones that have to be there to help break down food. So hence why Kellie's taking a probiotic and she's eating yogurt. That's really good for your gut biome. So your gut biome, yeah. So just be mindful of that, like protein. For me, it made me more constipated actually. And then it made it to where like if I did like go number 2, it was like little guys.
Oh yeah, like rabbit.
It was like pellets.
Rabbit poop or rabbit poops.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that happened for a long time, guys. Like that wasn't.
Well, you got to think too, you're also not eating the amount that you were before.
Yeah.
So you don't have as much, your body doesn't have as much to
process,
get rid of. So especially if you're not eating, like if you're only able to eat little amounts, your body doesn't have anything to get rid of. So yeah, your bathroom, that's going to change too. So
it's so funny because I pee a lot more.
Well, yeah.
And I poop a lot less.
Yep.
So,
we're at number 10. Some foods may never sit right again.
There. Yep.
Yeah. Mine is like chicken randomly. Like the chicken has to look a certain way for me to be able to eat it. And it cannot be overcooked. It cannot be tough. If it's tough, no go.
Ugh. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Olives just make me feel full. I don't know what it is, but I've literally after a year of, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Like I've tried. I love olives, but I know I'm going to feel full right away. So
yeah.
on Thanksgiving though, we always have olives. So I will at least have that way before I eat anything else because they're so delicious. But yeah, just certain foods are just not going to sit well anymore.
Yep.
Like I could care less about pizza now. I can give 2 shits. Like,
no, it's delicious, but no.
Right? When people are like, hey, do you want some pizza? No, not really.
Yeah.
Like, I'll eat the toppings now.
Yeah.
But that's not my go-to. Like, I don't even feel it anymore.
No, I don't really ever feel like, I love pizza.
Yeah, no.
No.
That one has gone away. So,
yeah.
For the pizza lovers, you might not like pizza anymore.
Yeah.
Because our taste buds change when we wake up. It's a little different. So, what was your taste bud changes? Do you remember? Isn't that the vanilla chocolate thing?
Yeah, I don't like vanilla, but for some reason, right after I liked vanilla. Chocolate had like this metallic taste to it, so I didn't like it.
No, I wouldn't either.
I started loving mushrooms and onions. That was a good thing. And then, yeah, the whole chicken thing, because I used to eat a lot of chicken.
Yeah.
A lot of chicken. And then it was like, no.
As long as it's your chicken thighs, they're good.
Well, thank you. It's mainly like chicken breast. I cannot eat chicken breast.
It gets dry so fast. Like,
Yep.
oh boy.
Yep. I'm not a fan.
No, and I will be right there with you with the onions. I didn't even like cooking onions before surgery. And now I love grilled onions. They are so good on steak, on burgers, you name it. I'm like, let me get me some sauteed mushrooms and fucking onions. Like, so it's good on my chicken. I actually had it on my Alice Springs chicken. I was like, yeah, add that shit on. I love it now. But before, could not catch me dead with any onion.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. Gross,
yeah.
but
I didn't like mushrooms, didn't like onions. I didn't really like vegetables. And now I'm more apt to put vegetables into my diet.
Yeah. And it's very important. We learned a lot about fiber. It comes from a lot of veggies, and that can help you go to the bathroom.
Yep.
So
fiber's important.
Very important.
Okay, number 11. We're both living it. Regain can happen.
Yeah. It really can.
Yep.
Guys.
Weight loss surgery is a tool, not a magic wand. And if you're not putting in the work,
if you're not working the tool will work you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know for me, I wasn't working the tool. That's really how I regained. I literally had a lot of fuck it moments, and I was not caring during the situations that I was in. I was just like, I just need to feel better. Definitely was eating my feelings again, like went right back to old Mel. And yeah, like I knew like within 2 months, I was like, oh, this isn't good.
Yeah.
But it was really hard to get myself out of it. Like it took a while. Like I sat in that for 6 months, 6 to 8 months. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it can happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. And then mine happened at year 8.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, just because you regain doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you've got to put some extra work in and just bring everything back to the basics. And regain does not discriminate. So it doesn't matter who you are, what you look like, what time frame you're in this journey. It does not give a fuck. So when life is lifing, we have to be even more cautious.
Yeah.
Because I know personally from my old habits is like, my crutch is food. It's like, okay, well, they've been my friend. And I remember Jamie talking about it. Like, this thing has been your friend for so long, comforting you, making you feel better. And when we have bariatric surgery, it's like losing a friend and you're losing a whole coping skill. So it makes sense why people regain. Yeah, like it really does. And I just don't want people to think that they're failing, because you're not failing.
No. And I think Dr. Eric said it, that the number one reason why we regain is because we aren't paying attention to how we're losing the weight. So like if you're getting your 3 meals a day, you're hitting your protein goals, you're hitting your water goals, but you're gaining. So you're less likely to gain than if you're losing it in an unhealthy way, like not eating enough, not doing any of the things you should be. You're more likely to regain than that person that is just continuing hitting their goals. And that's not even an everyday goal. That just means like 90% of the time you're hitting your goals.
Yep.
So remember that. When you're thinking about regain, it can happen to anybody. And, how are you losing your weight? Be truthful with yourself.
Yep. Be honest. It's a big deal. And even with Dr. Eric saying, he said too that if you're taking say you have a routine, you take your vitamins every day, you are more likely to do the other things. Like, because you started off with doing the habit. So he wants people to just slowly build habits on top of habits. And it works, because like I'm actually in habit now. Like I've gotten my routine to a good point.
Yeah. Mental health matters more than you would expect.
We can both
start therapy. That's it.
Start therapy.
Well, because there's a lot of stuff that, right? So like there's body dysmorphia, there's depression, there's what was the other one? The unresolved trauma from your past. Like maybe you didn't have the greatest childhood and that's why you eat. Well, you need to deal with that in order to move forward in a healthy way.
Yep.
So there's all sorts of things that can go on in your life that you need to talk about. You can't just shove it in a closet and be like, oh, not opening that again. Nope.
Yeah, and a lot of us shoved it in our mouth with food. So we have to, like, what I want to point out is it's normal to feel the things that you're feeling, and you do need someone to talk to because you need someone to help you navigate through this. Because I didn't know why I was having panic attacks. I didn't know why I was having like mental breakdowns in my hallway. I didn't understand what was happening to me, but it was because I couldn't cope anymore. My one coping skill has completely been torn from me by choice. Didn't know that's what I was doing at the time. But that's the deal, is why you need therapy, because they can actually tell you, hey, by the way, you've been coping in an incorrect way. You have some family problems that need to be taken care of. Let's talk about that. Get some things in motion. That's how I found out the reason why when I see a chocolate chip cookie, I get happy and want it, is because I have really good memories with my mother making cookies. So that is completely tied to an event when I was younger. And we all think like, oh, it's not going to affect us. I said it before to myself millions of times. Oh, not affecting me. I'm fine. Just keep moving. And no, it does.
It does.
It slowly creeps up and it will get you. It just does.
Yeah. And if you guys are looking for a bariatric therapist, check out findabariatrictherapist.com. It is free for you guys and it will help you find a bariatric therapist in your area. There's all sorts of filters you can do and it's amazing. So go check that out if you're looking for a bariatric therapist. Last but not least, not everyone will be supportive. Yep. Believe it or not, people suck.
Yeah. Some people don't like to watch others do good. I've learned it the hard way. Yeah. I'm sure Kel has too. It's not fun to not feel supported, especially when you're going through this huge wellness change. And to have people say snide remarks or don't think that you can do it and like,
or try to sabotage you.
Oh yeah.
I've had that one. So just be aware of who you let into your bubble.
Yep.
And if they're sabotaging you, might not be somebody that you want to hang around with all that often.
Oh yeah, that's what Eric was. Eric would sabotage my food all the time.
Yeah. He
would literally like order crumble and buy 4, like not just the one for him. He would buy 4. So then of course, like I'm going to want one. And he knows I love the chocolate chip. So he'd always get me one. And it's like, oh, like you're not even giving me the choice about bringing it into the house. Like that's like, you're literally doing this, or he'll go get a bunch of food that he knows I like. Like he did those things. People do that. And you know what? He might not have been aware that he was like sabotaging me, but it was happening. You know, like sometimes your friends and family don't realize what they're doing. Sometimes they just think they're helping you and they're really not helping you. Like I had to tell everybody that lived with me, stop asking if I want anything at the market when you go, because they were going like 2 to 3 times a day. And it's hard to keep saying no. Like it takes up the courage enough to say no the first time, let alone 3 more fucking times. So just tell people what you need and hopefully they'll be on the bandwagon. My whole needing them worked. You know, they got on it real quick. Eric never got on it. Just right in the beat. That first year he did. After that first year, it was like, figure it out. I'm not a part of this. Don't care. I'm going to do what I want. And it's really hard to deal with someone like that. So yeah, be mindful of who's in your circle and see how they act with your food. Yeah. Because you never know. You might actually have some surprises of people that are really supportive. And then others that you would think maybe a mom or maybe an uncle that would be supportive and they're actually not. So just watch people and just know that you're changing and they're not there with you. Like it's not their change. So it's going to be slower for them to get to you. We learned that from a couple of people like that we've interviewed. It's like, oh yeah, they didn't sign up for this change. So we have to give them grace too and have conversations of like, hey, this is what could help me.
Yeah. Yeah. And realize that like, if you're setting those boundaries, you have to also make sure that so the way that David, my therapist, explained it to me is that it's a pie and it's cut into the pieces, right? You can't just take the middle out and intersect all of these other pieces.
Yeah.
You have to say, okay, this is their boundary and it has to butt up against their boundary. Yeah. You can't just say, this is what I'm doing and I don't care. You have to let it be a mutual boundary almost. Mm-hmm. And you have to make sure that you're not affecting them negatively either.
Yeah.
So, if saying something like, I would really appreciate it if you didn't talk about this, that would be great. That's something that you're not making them change who they are. Right. So, keep that in mind when you are dealing with frustrating people that are not supportive, but also say like, this is my boundary. I don't like that you said that. So this is a boundary and I'm setting this in place.
Yeah, and we're all allowed to have boundaries. Mm-hmm. Don't let people try to tell you. I've had my mom be like, well, that doesn't like serve me. Like, well, that's that's kind of like not the point, but also like I need to protect myself from like your negative comments mm-hmm. or trying to give me food that I don't need or want, because people do that. Mm-hmm. And that's what my mom had done. So you have to just give up, and it's okay. It's allowed. Mm-hmm. So don't you worry about it, and just be kind. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Be kind about it.
All right. Well, that's everything that we have on our 13 unspoken rules of bariatrics. Do you guys have any extras to add? If you do, feel free to message us on social media, leave a comment below, email us, whatever you feel like you want to share with us. We are welcomed. We're welcoming that in. Yes. All right. Well, we love you guys, and we will see you next time. Bye.